Hey folks, Papa Joe here. I want to touch base on a subject very near and dear to me. Now, I made a video a year ago. It was be a parent, not a friend to your kids. Something like that. And I told everybody that you needed to teach your kids the right ways of life. And start out early teaching them that there are boundaries and responsibilities that all Americans have to do. Well, all people in the world should partake in. I did not tell them to beat the hell out of them. There was somebody just watched it and left a comment, and basically they disagreed with everything I had to say. And they think that you can be friends with your children and still teach them right. Well, that's their prerogative to believe that way. However, they took offense with what I had to say, and I can't be right because they disagree with me. Ain't that the way of the modern world? You know, we've all seen it in life, but some of the movies and talk shows really emphasize what I'm talking about. Dr. Phil, I liked Dr. Phil when he first came out. I seen a YouTube, some rich people out of LA, and this teenage girl, mom just couldn't do nothing with her. And this child, 18-ish, 16-ish, whatever, mom gave her a new car. But it wasn't a Mercedes or some fancy car. And I won't be seen driving that, no, I had to buy my old first clunker. It cost me $50. Then I had to work on it and get it running. And I was damn glad to get it. Well, this child told Dr. Phil that basically she was entitled to everything. And everything her mother had should be hers. You know, that kind of mentality. Really? That comes from not raising your child. That comes from not teaching your child the real ways of the world. That comes from being a friend and not a parent. That comes from spoiling the children and giving them everything that they want. They grow up expecting everything. They don't expect to have to work for a living because mom and dad will provide it for them. They grow up being little assholes. And when they get big, they're big assholes. Because they was not raised. They were let to grow up. There's a difference. A big difference. Now, if they was informing me that you could be friends with your children until discipline was needed, I really wasn't talking that much about discipline. I touched on it. I was talking about guidance and teaching them boundaries, respect. And I've seen too many of these modern kids, and so have you, in the stores and everywhere else, where they order their parents around. They throw a little fit like a little heathen. They cuss their parents out, yell at their parents. If I'd considered any of the above, when I woke up, I would have decided that that was a bad choice. No, you don't have to be a You don't have to beat them and abuse them and just be a total monster, but you do need to teach them. Period. They have to be educated. They were not taught, born knowing how to be an adult, how to be a member of society. If you're counting on them to get their education and guidance off of TV, you're creating a monster. If you let them watch some of these kiddie shows where they're all a bunch of little smart asses, and then you allow them to bring that into their life, you're creating a monster. And you don't have to agree with it, it's just the truth. The only one it's not the truth to are the ones that have already done this, and they have their own little monsters. And then we wonder why we have mass shootings and suicides and bullying and beatdowns and maybe if you had taught that kid that if they bullied somebody or beat somebody down that you'd whoop their ass. Ooh, there's that discipline word again. And nothing wrong with society, right? It's all my fault. It ain't your fault because of how you raised your child. It's got to be my fault. The saying is, it takes a village to raise an idiot, not a child. It takes two caring parents, or at least one caring parent, to raise a child. If you're leaving it to the village in this day and age, who knows what you're raising. Flip side of the coin. That individual talking to me, he was on a guilt trip about not taking his kids to church. Well, not leading them to the Lord. And I told him that was something to be concerned with. And the best way to teach is by example. That he didn't need to send them to church, he needed to take them to church. There's a difference. A big difference. I got a phone call later on that him and his wife decided they were going to start going to church again. Wasn't sure why they had fell away, but they knew they needed to introduce their children to Jesus Christ. I totally agree. So although it's going to be a little bit of a hassle with their schedule, he's going to make it work out where he can take them to church, not send them. That's how you should do it. Period. There's your right and wrong of the whole scenario. Now what are you doing with your children? Think about it. Hey, remember, God loves you, so do I. He does expect you to parent. He didn't say be friends. He said be a parent and raise them as straight as an arrow. And once you cut them loose, they will fly straight as an arrow. Y'all have a blessed day now. Bye.